thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is Conifer Area Council's 4th Town Hall meeting, which is virtual. It is Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. And a very, very special thanks to Tiffany and Christy at RE/MAX Alliance for their community support of tonight's Town Hall meeting. So what's going on around here? First of all, we have Jana Spiker, Region 1 West Program Resident Engineer with CDOT, to give us an update about everything 285. Jana?
Thank you, Shirley, and good evening. As Shirley said, my name is Jana Spiker, and I am a resident engineer at CDOT in Region 1, which includes the Conifer and Evergreen areas. Tonight, I'll be sharing updates with you on the Kings Valley Interchange project, as I know this project is of great importance to you and the community. For those not familiar with the project, the purpose of it is to improve safety and operations by grade separating the left turn movements to and from US 285 and Kings Valley Drive. The interchange is proposed to carry Kings Valley Drive traffic over US 285 and eliminates the unsafe left turn movements across opposing traffic. When we met last November, CDOT was underway with the environmental reevaluation of the project, a process which is required by state and federal law when an environmental assessment or study has been completed and identifies a preferred solution or alternative, but does not get it constructed or have a significant phase within 3 years. The intent of the reevaluation is to identify and analyze any change conditions that may have not been present at the time the study was conducted, and to determine if the originally approved interchange is still our preferred solution. At this particular location at Kings Valley, there are some critical new findings that have been identified to date. A historic structure, which is also known as the Conley Coffee Shop, a conservation easement with the Mountain Area Land Trust, as well as a demolition of a previously identified historic structure, which was the old firehouse. Because the preferred alternative, which was recommended in 2004, now results in a direct impact to the historic structure, the coffee shop, CDOT is consulting and coordinating with FHWA as well as the State Historic Preservation Office to evaluate our other interchange configurations, which would not result in a direct impact to this or any other historic structure, but it still achieves the same safety and operational levels of service. Just to clarify, the Conley Coffee Shop was not registered or eligible to be listed in the Historic Register prior to the 2004 completion of the environmental assessment. We anticipate that this alternatives development and evaluation effort will take about 3 months to complete, and at which time CDOT will either proceed with our original final design and the necessary mitigation with a previously identified interchange, or will then begin preliminary and final design of a new concept, including identifying the right-of-way impacts and environmental mitigation associated with it. Now, depending on the outcome of where we proceed, a construction-ready project is now anticipated for spring or fall of 2023. And because the interchange configuration will greatly impact our needs of property or right-of-way acquisition, CDOT has postponed plans to proceed with previously identified or impacted parcels until final approval of an interchange location is received. Final approval of this interchange will be done with accordance with CDOT's 1601 policy, which directs the approval criteria and process to add new interchanges to our state highway system. This is ultimately approved by the CDOT Transportation Commission unless that approval is delegated to our chief engineer. Also, please note CDOT will engage our public through a virtual meeting platform to discuss our findings as well as the path forward this spring or early summer. We are diligently working internally and with our local partners to ensure that funds will be available to construct the approved interchange once design is complete. So thank you for your time this evening and for my opportunity to update you with this project.
We appreciate, as always, your updates. They're very informative, so thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Next, we have Melanie Swearingen, who is the director of the Conifer Area Chamber of Commerce. And Melanie, I think you have a big event coming up, plus a lot of other things, right?
We do. We always have a lot of things going on. Thank you, Shirley, for having me here tonight. I appreciate it. It's great to see all these faces on here. So I'm excited to hear all of the information that's coming out tonight. I do have 4 topics I wanted to really talk about tonight. We just finished up our chocolate walk. So hopefully you all were able to get out and visit some of the retail stores and taste some of the different chocolate that they had available. It was a lot of fun. We did it last week from Thursday to Saturday. And it was designed really to get customers back in stores. That's been a lot of my job, trying to figure out how do we help the retail businesses really get back to normal and get people back in their businesses and shopping with them and spending some money and getting money back into our economy. So we had the chocolate walk last weekend, and this coming, or 2 weekends from now, so February 27th, and I'm not looking at a calendar, so I'm not sure where we are right now in the month of February. But by February 27th, we are doing the snow tubing competition over at Meyer Ranch. So 285 Winterfest is partially back. We're doing half of it this year. So we have separate waves this year because of everything trying to keep everybody socially distanced. So we're setting it up in different waves. So you can register in advance, and teams are competing for $100. The fastest team gets the winning prize. So first off, I wanted to make sure to say thank you to Conifer Gutter for sponsoring that event. We really appreciate Tyler over there. He does a fantastic job and is always so supportive of the community. So we really appreciate Conifer Gutter coming in for that. So sign up and make sure that you are participating, because we'd love to see everybody out there. And then 2 other things that we have going on. We have the Chamber Roadshow on Facebook. So we've been doing a lot of promotions for retail stores, and we wanted to make sure we could promote some of the home-based business stores or home-based businesses that do not have the retail locations where you can pop in. So we're doing the Chamber Roadshow and doing some Facebook Live interviews just to meet some different business owners in the area and get them connected to the community. And then last but not least, we are getting ready to work on our business directory. So if anybody wants to be a part of the 285 business directory, please reach out to me. We're doing a big campaign and push to get as many businesses included in that as we can. And it's going to be a great promo to reach out to new residents. And we're going to be mailing, I think, 7,500 and then sending out another 2,500 to different locations in the area. So that's what we have going on at the Chamber. There's always stuff coming up that's new and next. And so keep in touch and we'll keep you all posted.
Thanks, Melanie. And you have the directories that you're going to mail out. Where can people pick them up?
Well, so we'll have a number of different retail or real estate offices and then local businesses. So we'll have a list on our website on where you can pick those up.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, well, next we have Jessica Paulson, Public Services Manager with the Mountain Libraries. So Jessica, what is an update on what's happening with the libraries?
Hey, thank you. We've got a lot going on or about to happen, so thanks for giving me a few minutes tonight. I'm really excited to share some of the ways that we've increased access to Conifer Library and some of our upcoming events. So, as you probably know, Conifer Library is a shared space that functions as a public high school library during the day and as the public library outside of school hours. So JCPL and CHS have been in close contact and are actively working to provide services to the community while still keeping safety the priority. So we're actually really happy to announce that we're going to be expanding our public library hours. So beginning in March, we're going to go back to our 2:30 to 8 p.m. hours on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then we'll evaluate from there to see if we can add some more time. Our weekend hours are going to remain the same, and those are 10 to 5 on Saturday and 12 to 5 on Sunday. We're also excited to share about our partnership with the Mountain Resource Center. We've provided a hose locker and a returns bin at the Mountain Resource Center so that the Conifer community has 24/7 access to pick up their reserved items and to return items if the hours at the Conifer Library aren't very convenient. The returns bin outside Conifer High School does remain available too. And then in addition to those services, we also have digital and online resources, and those can be used via phone, tablet, computer, or whatever device you prefer. We offer book a librarian appointments for anyone who wants a little bit of help. We offer homework help for kids and teens. And then all of our programming is currently virtual, so just keep an eye on our website and social media to get involved. And we also have a new storyline available in English and Spanish And you can listen to a pre-recorded call that's about a pre-recorded 5-minute story that's available each week. So give that a try with your kids. And then our especially exciting upcoming event is a talk by world-renowned author Isabel Allende, and that's on March 5th. So you can register to attend live. It's virtual. Or you can just register and be sent the event recording afterwards. So go ahead and sign up on our website for those email messages to get the latest service updates. And we're really looking forward to seeing you back in Conifer Library during the week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Thank you, Jessica. We're so glad that we have more hours in Conifer now. That's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, and now we have Peggy Catlin. Peggy is the first vice chair and our director for RTD. So Peggy.
Thank you, Shirley. Actually, I'm no longer first vice chair. We had our elections in January, and I actually declined a nomination for that same position because I am now chair of our Finance, Administration, and Audit Committee. So that's occupying quite a bit of my time right now. We had, over the last year, the state Legislative Audit Committee conducted it's a regular routine audit of RTD, and they focused on 3 areas. One was the fare box recovery that is required by state statute. A second one was really the operations and operator retention issues that RTD had prior to COVID, but they were still auditing that and looking at policies and procedures that might impact our ability to recruit and retrain operators. And then finally, we had an audit of our own internal audit department. And the report was made available a couple of weeks ago for anyone who is interested in that particular area. Also last year, the legislature, along with the governor, created an accountability committee. And that accountability committee has been ongoing for about 8 months now. Their work is supposed to be done this summer, and they have prepared an interim report prior to the legislative session and are suggesting some statute changes for RTD that should be introduced here in the next week or two, if not already. And the accountability committee, I would be lying if I didn't tell you I had some concerns about its composition. There are no representatives from the mountain communities or South Jeffco whatsoever. We have one Jefferson County representative from Lakewood, but the balance of the committee is really in the Northwest area. So Boulder, Broomfield, that area. And so a lot of their discussion has centered around completion of the Northwest Rail. And RTD is bigger than just the Northwest Rail. RTD's fast tracks plan included a number of items, not just the rail corridors, but it also made a promise for increased bus service, enhanced bus service, to the tune of 1% growth per year. And then after this year, it was supposed to be 1.5% growth per year. That went by the wayside in 2012 when the board then decided to divert those funds toward a fast track savings account that could go towards capital construction of the rail lines. And so, as you all know, in the Conifer and Evergreen area, our bus service has suffered extraordinarily so, and also in South Jeffco. And I'm not popular, probably with some of those people who are pushing for the rail to Longmont, but I do not want our bus service further cannibalized in order to construct the rail line anytime soon. And I really am working very hard to try and get preservation or get the rail or the bus service that we had lost over the last several years reinstated for our mountain communities and South Jeffco. To that point, there are, for our next service planning, which is scheduled to occur in June now. It's usually May, but June. Well, it's decided that we wanted to be a little bit more proactive and do some listening sessions with our constituents and start to get feedback prior to really doing the analysis for any service changes. And so those are posted on our website, but they're starting this week. And so I would encourage any of you who want to call in and provide input, and now is a chance to do so. It's a little bit of a departure from where we usually were in our service planning. And finally, we had started a couple of years ago a process called Reimagine RTD. And it was really looking at the wholesale needs and operations of the agency. That was put on pause when the pandemic hit, because we just didn't know where we were with respect to data. And it's been decided that that process should be resurrected in the next couple of months. So there will be more on that. And I would encourage you to look at our website. So thank you for having me here. And you can reach me anytime if you have concerns about the RTD service. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit more so that maybe we can figure out how the Conifer community can be involved in getting better service up here. So we can talk and maybe get information out to the community. Thank you. Okay, and now we have Katie Barjay with the Conifer Lobos Unified Boosters, also known as Club, and she's going to be talking about new bleachers at Conifer High School. Katie.
Thank you, Shirley. Can you see my screen? Okay, wonderful. So thank you, Shirley, and the Conifer Area Council for this opportunity to provide the community an update. My name is Katie Bartajay, and I'm the Secretary and Capital Improvements Liaison for our club, which is the Conifer Lobos Unified Boosters. So in 2010, Club shifted its focus from smaller contributions to team sports to large capital improvements that would benefit like a wider variety of students, youth organizations, and the community. We looked at ways that that we could also benefit local businesses. These capital improvements are solely being paid for by the community residents with no school or county funds. In 2012, we partnered with the Conifer High School Administration, the Jefferson County Public Schools, CAC, and the Conifer Chamber, community organizations and stakeholders to come up with a multi-phased master plan to provide better field amenities in the Conifer area. We focused on things that would support like all three of the students, the community, and the businesses, or what we thought that what they thought we thought would be best. This is just a example of our phase one and future phases. So in 2012, the master plan for phase one and the future phases was complete. In 2013 and 14, Club started 2 impactful community events that raised money and awareness for these construction initiatives. Our annual Elevation Run Walk is in July, and it's a partnership between Club and CAC, and now offers a 5K, 10K, and fun run, and also collaborates with the Conifer Area Chamber with the Elevation Celebration. And then we have the Great Outdoors fundraiser that's a big auction event for us too, all open to the public. In September of 2015, Conifer actually saw our first game ever under the lights. So that was a really big accomplishment for us. We're super excited for the community. And the community did come out in droves. Attendance at the games has remained high, aside from this year and the COVID events and restrictions that were underway. But we're hoping that that'll come back around. So the next major focus for us was a safer area for our spectators. Club is now in the midst of a final push to get the bleachers installed. Right now we have temporary bleachers that are shown here. We're going to repurpose those to other fields. And we have new bleachers that are going to run from the 20-yard line or in between the 2 20-yard lines. There'll be 1,500 seats. They'll be green with green seats and green seat backs and aluminum bleachers. There's a huge volunteer effort to build some retaining walls and assemble these bleachers in the month of May. So our Bleacher Bucks campaign is ongoing. It's a great way to get your name or business on the new seats for all your neighbors to see. And the club does have a brand new website as well to kind of highlight all of our projects, some of our board members, great videos from the school when the lights were installed, and hopefully we'll have some construction videos for the bleachers as well. And you can also find out about our events and register there. So yes, thank you, Shirley.
Thank you. You know, Conifer High School is such an important part of our community, so thank you for making it such a great place to go and to meet. So thanks. Okay, well, as you all know, the Conifer area has so many developments going. They're in the planning stages, but we need for the Conifer community that everybody that wants to be involved. And so we asked Heather to come to, or at least to be part of our town hall meeting so that everybody can be a little bit more informed on what all is going on and how you can be involved. So Heather, if you want to talk a little bit about what's going on right now.
Yeah, thanks, Shirley, and thanks for having me here tonight. I'm going to give an update on what's going on in planning and zoning since the last Conifer Area Council meeting. First, I'm going to talk about some of the big picture projects that we're doing. And the first one that I was going to talk about was the water policies update. That update to the comprehensive master plan was adopted by the Planning Commission on December 9th of last year. So that was a great accomplishment for planning and zoning. But we have more to do with water. Our next steps are to update the water availability analysis, which is our implementation tool that we use with development proposals, and then also updating the water regulations in regard to our zoning resolution and our land development regulation. We are working on what that process will look like still and how we're going to involve the community. So just we'll keep you posted on what we're doing as we move forward with that process. Next, I wanted to talk about short-term rentals. At the last meeting that I was at, I let you guys know about a survey that was out to get opinions about short-term rentals. And currently staff is reviewing those surveys so that we can create a first draft of the regulation revisions. Again, we'll keep you posted on when we're going to be doing some community outreach to get feedback on those regulation drafts. And the last regulation amendment that I wanted to let you know about is that staff is working on some other updates. One of the key parts of that other general update is defensible space regulation updates. And a first draft of these updates have been created and they're currently being circulated internally to see if any changes need to be made before we send it out to the public. So look for that fairly soon. Now I'll move on to the specific development proposals. And currently there are 27 cases in the Conifer area that are in some stage of the development process. There are no new formal applications this time. There is one new pre-application that is also a community meeting. We have one rezoning update, one subdivision update, and one site development plan update. First, to go into the pre-applications and give you a little reminder of what a pre-application process is. A pre-application is a very preliminary request by a developer to sit down with planning staff and talk about a potential proposal and their general ideas. It really gives the applicant a sense of some of those big issues that they might see. For example, it will let them know if there's some big transportation improvements that they're going to need to make, any floodplain improvements, whether they're going to be complying with the comprehensive master plan, things like that. And this does not get any public notification because they are very early in the process, very preliminary, and only about 40 to 50% don't move forward into the formal application. So a lot of times people get feedback and they decide not to move forward with a proposal. The new pre-application that I wanted to talk about tonight is in the is pre-application number 9 in the development review case list. And this is off of Mary's Drive. 285 is in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. And the property is about 55 acres, just north of the Green Valley Ranch area. And the plan recommends 1 dwelling unit per 10 acres in this area. So that would be recommending about 5 dwellings on 55 acres. The applicant's proposal is to rezone and adjust lot lines to allow a duplex, 1 duplex, and 1 single-family home. That would be a total of 3 dwellings. There was also a community meeting held last night. So this pre-application is moving forward relatively quickly. And there were several people in attendance, and there were some concerns about a duplex on 3 acres, which is what the proposal is, additional rentals in the area, and water concerns. Next, I'm going to move on to our rezoning process. And a rezoning is a process that we use when someone wants to change the allowed uses on their property. So if they want to change from a commercial use to a residential use or vice versa, that's when a rezoning process would come into play. And there are 4 points throughout the process where there is public notification and there's opportunity for public comment. And I'm just going to briefly highlight those. The first is the community meeting. So for example, last night for the proposal on Mary's Drive, there was the community meeting where people can come virtually and talk about any concerns or ideas they might have for the proposal. Then when the applicant makes a formal application, there's also an opportunity for public input and for people to submit comments on the proposal. As it moves forward throughout the process, then there's also 2 public hearings where there's public testimony, and those are the Planning Commission hearing and the Board of County Commissioners hearing. And the Board of County Commissioners does make the final decision on all rezoning proposals. So the proposal that I wanted to update you on is the Conifer Center proposal. This is a big one that's going on in the Conifer area to allow for 188 residential units and an open space and recreation area along the stream, wetlands area and in the meadow. It's about 47 acres. The plan recommends residential with a maximum of 4 dwellings per acre. And this just really recently went on the 4th referral. So that just happened on Monday. So the development case list that was provided would not show that yet because it just happened on Monday. Next, I want to talk about a subdivision plat and a little refresher. In a subdivision process, the uses are already established on the property. So this is not a process where we look at whether the uses are appropriate. Rather, we look at how the larger property is divided up. There are opportunities for public comment again with a formal application. There are also 2 hearings, one before the Planning Commission and one before the Board of County Commissioners. But really the criteria that staff evaluates these against is much more objective than a rezoning. And if all regulations are met, the proposal should be approved. So the first plat that I wanted to talk about, the only plat that has had an update, is in the Homestead area along Settlers Drive. And the property is around 38 acres. The applicant would like to create 9 2-acre lots. It is zoned SR2 already, and so the 2-acre lots are allowed by the zoning. And this recently entered the 3rd referral phase. The last project that I wanted to talk about is the site development plan. And again, with the site development plan, it is a situation where the uses are already established. So uses are not a discussion during this process, but rather how the uses are allowed and how they would meet our regulations, specifically related to architecture, landscaping, lighting, drainage, traffic. We look at all of our regulations and how a proposal conforms with all of those. The site development plan process is an administrative process, so it doesn't go to hearings like the other processes I talked about. The decision is made by the planning director. The site development plan that has had an update since the last meeting is the property along at 11801 US Highway 285 frontage road It is 285 is right here. This is a park and ride, and it is a site that was just rezoned last year for a church to allow for a larger church. It's on 1.37 acres, and now they're coming in to demonstrate how they can meet all of our regulations. This is in the third referral phase, and so we're going through the process, and usually site development plans have 3 or 4 referrals, so they're probably getting close to the end. That was all of the information I have for you tonight. The case manager contact information is on each of the slides, so please reach out to them if you have any questions or comments about any of the cases. Thanks.
Thank you, Heather. And if any of you want to get any more involved, you can also go to ConiferAreaCouncil.org, and we have the development updates up there all of the time, and it has all that information. So it's great to have the community involved in what's happening up here. So Heather talked a little bit about the water issues and all the new regulations. And a group that is working very diligently on that also is the Conifer Area Council Water Study Action Team. And Peter Barkman, chairman of that team, is here to give a little presentation. They are keeping up with what is happening up here and how the water resources work with that. So, Peter.
Can you see my screen and hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Shirley. I want to just give you an update on what's going on with our team. Probably the biggest issue we're following right now that has real ramifications is the drought that we're experiencing. I'm sure many of you may have read about this in the January 27th Canyon Courier. The statewide snowpack is 83% of normal, and that's not too bad for statewide, but we're much worse on this side of the divide. And how this winter progresses can really change this. The important one is the precipitation over the last year is only 70% of normal. This is looking pretty dry. Colorado Water Year 20 was the driest in the 36 years of record with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. And you may have also heard that Evergreen Metro District is urging conservation measures to reflect this drought that they're seeing up there. And this is a drought map of the state with the darker red being exceptional drought. And you can see that southern Jefferson County is right in a bullseye of the highest level of drought, the D4. This is pretty dire for us. This is a plot of drought cycles for Jefferson County over the last 20 years, with the red being extreme and the dark red being the exceptional. And you can see we've had cycles of drought, but the one we're in right now is new territory for us. This is pretty dire, as I said. We do have a monitoring well network of wells in the activity center that we're collecting data. These wells have continuous data loggers that lets us look at trends in water levels. And so we're following these water level data and knowing that we're in an exceptional drought, and we're going to track this to see how it's going to affect our water supply. The last 5 years, we've seen an average of these wells of just a drop of 1.7 feet in water level. This is a plot of one of these wells that shows how we're looking at this. And we reduced the data to show static water level, and then have been grouping them in 5-year chunks of data and looking at trend lines. And you can see starting January 2005, we actually had 5 years of water levels rising, which was surprising. We didn't really expect to see that with all the growth that's going on. And then it leveled out, and then in the last 5 years, water levels have been dropping gradually. And so we scratched our heads wondering what this is reflecting. And this is a graph of precipitation. And the one that's really interesting, there are some blue asterisks in this graph that are snowfall through the snow season totals. And we also broke them into the 5 years chunks with the trend lines. And those trend lines, which you can see for 2000 to 2005, it increases slightly. 2005 to 2010, increases quite a bit, and then drops slightly. And then the last 5 years, it's dropping pretty rapidly. And if you remember the plot of water levels, those water levels follow this. So we think there's a pretty close tie in our groundwater resource and the fractured crystalline bedrock aquifer up here and snowfall totals. And things are not looking good for us right now. We really need to get out and do a snow dance so we can see our aquifer replenished and we don't see this continuing to drop. That's all I have to report for tonight, and I thank you.
Thank you, Peter. That wasn't great news, but I guess we should be very glad it's snowing out there tonight.
Yes, let's hope for more.
Yes, much more. So, okay. Next we have Senator Tammy Story with the Colorado State Legislature to give us a bit of an update. Tammy.
Thank you so much, Shirley. It's a pleasure to be here and have an opportunity to share and meet with our constituents. I wanted to spend my few minutes to share about a concern that is very important and relative to public safety here in the foothills of Jeffco. And by the way, I am the senator for Senate District 16, and I do represent the mountains of Jeffco in particular, as well as other areas. But I wanted to share with you a little bit about natural gas, and this information is pertinent to you if you are a customer of Colorado natural gas in particular, and you would be served if you are in the mountains of Jefferson County, Gilpin, Summit, Clear Creek, Park, Teller, and parts of Pueblo West counties. So it's been reported that there are potential violations of federal and state pipeline safety regulations and laws in the pipeline infrastructure installed by CNG as early as 1997. CNG reportedly transferred numerous homes and businesses from propane to natural gas without replacing the pipelines as required by law. This potentially deficient infrastructure could put entire communities at risk of fire and public health hazards. I've been working to remedy this situation since a constituent first brought it to my attention, but I have unfortunately faced challenges in getting CNG to take meaningful action. Additionally, Colorado Natural Gas has recently reported replacing infrastructure that was installed less than 24 years ago, likely decades before typical life expectancy for properly installed infrastructure should need it. Ratepayers, like those of you who may be listening, should not have to carry the weight of the cost of these repairs to pipelines that reportedly should be far from the end of their life cycle. Colorado Natural Gas, a subsidiary of JP Morgan Chase, is now attempting to increase rates on their customers to cover the costs of repairs. And CNG customers already pay approximately 2.5 times more for their natural gas than Xcel Energy customers. I am opposed to giving this type of blank check to a company that has not demonstrated a commitment to safety or financial accountability. There will soon be an opportunity to participate through written and/or remote oral testimony during a public comment hearing before the Public Utilities Commission to share your experiences with CNG relative to cost and infrastructure, including their pipelines, meters, and compressor stations. By offering public comment, you could help ensure a couple of things. One, CNG must assess and replace pipelines that were originally meant to carry propane but not natural gas. Use of propane gas lines in conjunction with natural gas service is a potential violation of federal and state law and could pose significant safety risks. At least 3 of the possible safety risks are that carrying pressure for propane pipe falls far short of the pressure usually carried by natural gas pipes. Also, the required depth of propane lines is much more shallow than what is required for natural gas lines. And third, propane lines do not carry tracer wire, while natural gas lines are required to carry tracer wire as a safety mechanism so their location underground can be identified prior to conducting required leak surveys, digging, construction, or repairs. Additionally, CNG should not require ratepayers to cover the cost to replace pipelines that are still functional or to replace pipelines that were incorrectly used or incorrectly installed by CNG. This remote public comment hearing will be Monday, March 8th, 2021, starting at 3:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This hearing will be held before an administrative law judge at the Public Utilities Commission. Information about how to participate in this remote public comment hearing by computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone will be posted on the PUC website approximately 1 week before the hearing. You can also submit written comments or objections to the application for the rate increase, as well as copies of photographs of problems you may have seen with CNG's infrastructure with the PUC. And I can share more information about that, how you can reach out to them by mail or through a link online. If you reach out to me, and I'll share my contact information in a minute. Many comments have already been filed with the commission, and you can look those up as well to get some ideas of what other people are writing about. Please be assured that I'm doing everything I can to get this situation resolved with a focus on safety and ensuring ratepayers do not carry the weight of these repairs to CNG's infrastructure system. These probable risks have the potential to affect many people living in the Colorado foothills. Forest fires, explosions, and catastrophic failures do not respect property lines. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me by email. My email address is Tammy, Tammy, .story, STORY, .senate@state.co.us. So one more time, tammy.story.senate@state.co.us, or you can reach me by phone at 303-866-4873. I'd be happy to share additional information or answer any questions or hear your concerns. Again, this public hearing is scheduled for Monday, March 8th, starting at 3:30 p.m., and it will be before an administrative law judge at the Public Utilities Commission. And feel free to reach out to me if you have additional questions, and thank you so much. I hope that we can resolve these situations soon.
Thank you, Tammy. That was extremely important information. So thank you very much for that. Next, we have Representative Lisa Cutter with the Colorado State House. Lisa.
Thank you so much, Shirley. And thank you for including me in this and convening this wonderful group. I'm always really impressed by all the great work being done in our community. And kudos to my colleague, Senator Story, for all of the work on that particular issue that'll help all of our constituents. So I'm really excited to be back at the Capitol. We began our regular, what is regular? What does that mean anymore? But we began our regular-ish session, and we're excited to get back to work to improve the lives of all Coloradans. This year I'll be on the Public and Behavioral Health Committee and the Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee. And I will also serve on the Opioid Interim Committee and the Wildfire Matters Interim Committee, which I will have the privilege of chairing this summer. So I'm really excited about that. It's an important issue for our community and something I've really enjoyed working on. So as we begin to see the light at the tunnel, I'm hoping for the pandemic. I mean, there's some glimmers of good things around the corner. Keep hanging on, but it's critical, I think, that we sort of thread the needle between continuing to help people recover, which is absolutely going to be a continued focus, but also think about the impacts of the pandemic while not losing sight of the important work to pave the way for a better future. There's still things that we need to do to ensure the good future for all of Coloradans. So we're going to continue to work on both of those things as we move forward. So in the future planning bucket, I'm particularly focused on legislation to improve wildfire mitigation, mental health care, and mitigate climate change on every level. We already have seen some significant impacts of climate change, the horrible wildfire season, and really, I'm sure all of you, that must be on your minds a lot. It's certainly on my mind, and I live at the base of the district, so I don't live up in the WUI as many of you do, and it's a great concern. And the drought presents presentation was, boy, that was sobering. And so these things are a direct impact of climate change, and something I think we need to continue to work to mitigate these effects. And to that end, I'll be working on sustainability, resiliency, and wildfire prevention, which are inextricably linked. A few of the bills I'm going to work on include wildfire recovery and mitigation grants, which will hopefully be a big help to the community. And I'm going to begin to address our runaway pollution, plastic pollution problem by doing away with some of the more egregious forms of plastic, single-use plastics and styrofoam. Those things are also very, very much linked to climate change, as well as just polluting our environment and harming human and animal health. So that's what I'll be working on. I also will work on continue to fight for First Amendment protections and ensure that our students are taught the skills they need to think critically and make good decisions that will help us move democracy forward. We've seen some interesting things this last year in regards to democracy and protest and all those things. And media, the way people consume and listen to media. And so I think it's really important that we continue to encourage civil discourse and healthy debate, but help our students learn how to discern what's accurate information and what's fact versus opinion and so on, so that we can debate on the solutions and not the problems. we look at the facts, and then we can all get together and figure out how to solve those problems. Let's see, I'm also going to be working on some disinformation. There's a real effort this past election cycle in particular, foreign intervention to mislead people in terms of elections and also public health. There's been a definite effort that they've uncovered, the Secretary of State's office, and many others have reported on. So I hope to work on some legislation along those lines. I will not, unfortunately, be on the education committee this year, but I want you all to know that that'll continue to be a real priority for me to stand up for public education and be a champion. So thank you again for having me here for the update. And I just want to reiterate that if anyone wants to reach out, if you have issues, concerns that I can help you with or my office can help you with, or you just want to express your opinion, reach out to me anytime. It's lisa.cutter.house@state.co.us. And you can sign up for my newsletter. I update people regularly at Cutter for Colorado. There's a drop-down menu under contact. It's pretty easy to subscribe. So I hope to hear from you. And again, thank you all, and thanks to community for all the great work everyone's doing.
Thank you, Lisa. And I would say that probably most people in the Conifer area think that wildfire, all the things you're doing about wildfire are very, very important and critical. So thank you. So next we have Elizabeth O'Brien. She is Jeffco Open Space Planner, and she's going to be talking about some of the new things Open Space has going. They've adopted a strategic plan and conservation greenprint, and they're also doing a lot of different things at Beaver Ranch. So she's going to be talking about all of that. So Elizabeth.
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so thanks, Shirley. Again, my name is Elizabeth O'Brien. I'm a planner with Jefferson County Open Space. Today, I'm going to be walking through some improvements that we're doing to Beaver Ranch Park. Very exciting. And these are 2020 to 2025 planning actions as outlined by both the 2017 Beaver Ranch Master Plan, as well as the Jefferson County Open Space Conservation Greenprint. So before I dive into our proposed improvements at the park, I'd like to give some context into Open Space's planning process. So the Vision to Action framework is our framework for linking our open space mission and vision to specific park plans that'll help us achieve our goals, essentially. So this framework includes the Conservation Greenprint, which I mentioned, which is our strategic plan for 2020 to 2025 and outlines system-wide goals for the next 5 years. For the purposes of today's presentation, I'm going to be focusing on park plans, which are highlighted in green in this graphic, These plans identify specific actions and strategies for improvement under 5 park components. And I'll be going into the details on those park components in the next slide. So as I mentioned, we have packaged our improvement strategies for our park plans into 5 park components. So this includes natural resources, park and heritage resources, trails, access and trailheads, and visitor information and management. So for today's presentation, I'll be focusing mostly on our planned improvements for the trails and access and trailheads component, but I want you guys to know that the others are being addressed. I'd also like to mention that the development of these improvements are the result of constant communication with Beaver Ranch Community Inc., who we've been working with for years to manage and improve Beaver Ranch Park. So before I go into the improvements under those components, I'd like to provide some context for you guys. So this is the existing map that we have on our website for Beaver Ranch Park, and it shows the existing conditions for the park. So as you can see, this map shows the park entrance with the multi-purpose field and parking on both sides of the road. This road extends into the park's interior with parking again on either side of the road, both for the main lodge and for the disc golf course. And then the road continues to lead deep into the park for access to things like the teepee lodge, the campsites, the dog park, and all of those also have dedicated parking. This map also shows the existing trail system, which is primarily contained to the western portion of the park. It also shows the zip line runs, kind of this dashed line, as well as the disc golf course in red here. And then here is the park map that I pulled from the 2017 Beaver Ranch Park Master Plan that shows essentially the desired future condition of the park. So in this image, you'll see that the trailhead is proposed for the entrance of the park where the multi-purpose field currently sits. This trailhead will then become the main parking area for most park visitors, and vehicular traffic is mostly contained to this part of the park. Beyond the trailhead, you'll see that the road leading to the main lodge will have limited traffic as identified by this yellow line, and will only be accessible to those accessing the main lodge and the teepee lodge for events and for possible short-term unloading for campsites as well. This map also shows a new trail system for the entire park, and in this conceptual map, the dog park has also been relocated. So you'll see that the campsites, the zip line, and the disc golf are kept in the same condition as they are now. And so really our objectives for this project are a combination of those agreed upon Beaver Ranch Master Plan recommendations, as well as the conservation greenprint goals associated with the park. So as I mentioned previously, this presentation is going to be focusing on goals 9 and 10, which are the trail and trailhead improvements. But I wanted you guys to know that the other components are addressed in both of these plans. For instance, under our natural resources component, we have goals 5 and 6 of the conservation greenprint. Goal 5, which is our war on weeds, we have planned to have 89 acres at Beaver Ranch Park treated annually for weeds over the next 5 years, which will result in 445 acres treated by 2025. Under Goal 7, on habitat restoration, we have planned for 23 acres of habitat to be restored in 2023. And so now the rest of this presentation will be focused on trails and trailheads. So this map details the existing and proposed trails at Beaver Ranch. The black thinner lines on the map indicate the existing trail system at the park, which is approximately 3.2 miles in length. The existing trails are limited again to this western portion of the park area. And then the dark blue lines reflect our proposed trail alignment that'll be built by Open Space Trail staff. As you can see, again, this proposed trail alignment really creates trail throughout the park and is approximately 7.4 miles in length. And really our goal for constructing this new trail is to provide a family-friendly trail experience at Beaver Ranch Park that's in keeping with a traditional open space trail system. So this just means that the trails are designed and constructed in a way that's essentially easier to maintain for our staff, and it's also going to provide a better experience for trail users. And the trails in this system will be multi-use. So most of the construction for the trail system is going to be occurring this summer, and the trail system should be entirely completed and built by the end of 2021. So that's exciting. And then another substantial project at the park is the design and construction of a new trailhead. So this is a conceptual graphic, very conceptual, for design of the new trailhead. So in this concept, the trailhead is going to be built near the existing entrance of the park. Again, it's where the multi-purpose field is currently situated. Included in the programming for the trailhead is a new parking lot that's going to fit approximately 100 cars, which includes oversized and accessible spaces. You can see a new restroom facility here, a new playground space. The new trailhead may also potentially include a relocated dog park, pro shop, and pavilion, amongst other things. So again, the focus for this new trailhead is to create a space that is more akin to a traditional open space park trailhead in partnership with Beaver Ranch Community, Inc. As I mentioned previously, this means that the trailhead would be the main parking destination for most visitors, and vehicle traffic and parking in the interior will be reduced. Visitors who are coming to Beaver Ranch to utilize the new playground, for instance, can park right at the trailhead and use all of the updated facilities without having to drive into the park. And if visitors are coming to the park to experience the new trail system, this parking area will lead them on foot, bike, or horse to the trail system to enjoy their day. So completion for the new trailhead is estimated to be by the end of 2022. And again, the goal for all of these improvements is to update the main park components at Beaver Ranch to create a more traditional and efficient park experience. And that's all I had. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out. My email is eobrien@jeffco.us. Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Elizabeth, thank you so much. That is really exciting news, all of it. So yeah. Thank you. And actually last tonight, we have our very own Commissioner, Lesley Dahlkemper. Lesley.
Shirley, thank you so much. And thanks for the opportunity to share more about what is happening at the county level, although we've heard so much from Jeffco Open Space, from Conifer Library, from Planning and Zoning, and so many others. So I always learn something new when I come to the Conifer Town Hall. So thanks so much for having me. There are a couple of topics that I thought I'd share updates on. And I first wanted to begin by letting you know that just last month, we welcome 2 new county commissioners, Andy Kerr and Tracy Kraft-Tharp. You'll be seeing more of them in the coming weeks and months. And I'm also pleased to continue into my second year as chair of the Board of County Commissioners. Please know that you can reach all 3 of us at commish, C-O-M-M-I-S-H, that's commish, at jeffco.us. I thought I'd also provide a quick update on where Jefferson County stands with COVID. What do our numbers look like? How are we doing overall? We meet regularly with Jeffco Public Health to get these updates, hear more about progress regarding vaccinations and more. First, a huge thanks to you, members of our community, for all of your hard work, for your sacrifice over what has now been the last year related to this pandemic. Thank you for wearing a mask, for socially distancing, avoiding mixing households, and more, because your efforts are making a difference in our community. And on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners and Jeffco Public Health, we want to extend our greatest thanks to you. Case counts in terms of COVID and hospitalizations continue to decline. That's the good news, but as you know, we must stay vigilant. The recently updated Colorado Department of Public Health dial launched over the last week or two puts Jefferson County in the middle of the new level yellow. There are 3 metrics that CDPHE looks at to determine where Jefferson County and other counties stand on that dial, including incidence of COVID cases. Right now, we're at 106 cases over a 1-week period. That's out of 100,000 people, per 100,000 people. Our positivity rate continues to go down, 3.4% over 1 week, and hospitalizations are in day 11 of declining overall, and we're in about the 30s in terms of ICU beds in Jeffco hospitals. So again, the data are moving in the right direction. We want to keep that up. As of February 11th, more than 98,000 Jeffco community members have been vaccinated. Jeffco is almost done vaccinating frontline workers in healthcare, law enforcement, fire rescue. So far, we've vaccinated nearly 63%. We heard that number today from Jeffco Public Health of our population that is aged 70 or older. We're making strides, but we have several thousand more to go before we hit 70% of that segment of our population. We've also vaccinated 20% of those who are 65 to 69 years of age. And we, of course, want to make sure that no one is left behind. Everyone gets vaccinated. That's why members of our Jeffco Public Health team are going door to door to vaccinate homebound seniors in Conifer. In addition, we have a team of 4 to 5 public health navigators who are personally reaching out to adults 70 years and older who live independently to help them navigate their vaccine appointment, because we know that not all of us are savvy when it comes to technology or may even have access to computers to make those appointments. Many of our navigators are also bilingual because we know our communities of color in Jefferson County and across Colorado are disproportionately affected by COVID-19. Our continued challenge is that there's simply not enough supply of the vaccine to meet the demand. And also, as you've probably been hearing in the news lately, severe weather in other parts of the country is delaying the delivery of some vaccines. I want you to know that county commissioners, our state legislators, Representative Cutter, Senator Story, as well as our mayors across Jeffco, continue to advocate often and loudly for the equitable distribution of vaccines across Jefferson County. We received some good news from the governor's office and the State Department of Health in reaction to that advocacy, but we still have more work to go. For more about vaccines, including sign up for our county alerts about vaccines, testing, changes to Jeffco's dial status, please visit www.jeffco.us/COVID-vaccine. Jeffco.us. If you didn't get that whole thing, just go to jeffco.us, go to our homepage, upper left-hand corner, click on the COVID-19 banner, and all the information will be there at your fingertips. Finally, I wanted to provide a quick update because, you know, I can't do an update at the Conifer Town Hall without talking about wildfire risk reduction. Thanks to Representative Cutter, Senator Story for their partnership and collaboration on this issue. Jefferson County is updating its multi-hazard mitigation plan, and it will focus on the next 5 years of work. The Jefferson County Emergency Management Team and Planning and Zoning, we heard a little bit earlier from Heather, are jointly leading this project for the 2021 update. And the purpose of the plan is to reduce the impact of natural disasters on citizens and property in Jefferson County by outlining actions that can mitigate the effects of natural hazards, including wildfire, flooding, and more. Maintaining a current FEMA-approved multi-hazard mitigation plan is also a prerequisite for eligibility for the receipt of additional FEMA funding. And we know how important that is to our community as well. Those FEMA dollars can be used for pre- and post-disaster mitigation efforts. Jeffco Emergency Management, our team, is incorporating public feedback and involvement in this process too. We know you're active and engaged. That's why you're joining us for the Conifer Town Hall. So we encourage you to reach out to learn more. We had a kickoff meeting for the public on January 14th, launched a public survey, and there are more public meetings that will be scheduled in the future. You can find out more about those at jeffco.us/488, jeffco.us/488. As always, please reach out directly to me with any concerns you may have at 303-271-8510 or at my email, ldahlkem@jeffco.us. And again, a huge thanks to the Conifer Area Council for hosting tonight's town hall, and to everyone who's involved, and thank you for being here as well.
Thank you, Lesley. Great information. And I think you can all see that there is so much going on in the Conifer area. And so tell all of your friends and family and neighbors and everybody else to go to Conifer Area Council and there is a link there for you to watch tonight's town hall meeting. And I'd like to do one last shout out to Tiffany and Christy with RE/MAX Alliance for their community support of tonight's meeting. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope to see you at our next virtual town hall meeting in April. Thank you. Good night.